All right, we're reviewing The Walking Dead on What the Flick, just Kim and Francis today, but we're talking about East in The Walking Dead Season 6. I want to keep an open mind. I want to think the best of this, but I want to say this is not a good episode.
Yeah, I've been containing my adverse thoughts on the last couple of episodes, right? I mean, but it's time to let loose. Let's call a spade a spade. This is a shite episode.
A lot of things didn't make sense. We found a lot of Alexandrians getting outside the walls for reasons that didn't always make a lot of sense. That didn't seem very consistent with their characters.
Yeah.
We see Daryl starting out the episode. He's very upset about what happened with Denise. He is out there looking for blood. We immediately see characters go like, you can't do it alone. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
We've got to stop him.
So
we see Glenn and Michonne head out. We see Rosita decide she's going to go too after a couple, spying on couple scenes. Or she was just seeing Abraham and Sasha in particular. But there was a nice couples montage off the top.
Yeah. I mean, so the flaw for me is the Carol rescue squad, right? It's like, well, let's go and rescue Carol again, right? I already had my flaws in her character development last episode. I think they missed a huge opportunity of developing her character in a certain way, but again, they just made her seem the runaway bride who needs saving for people to go and try and bring her back. Like, why are we consistently sending? It's not realistic anymore to consistently send all of our best people out of the walls. That's just a flaw in the writing. They could have thought of a better way. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to create a vulnerable situation so that Negan can find an upper hand to come in, right? It's like now we've got groups that are captured. Now we've got Morgan outside trying to look for Carol. So we're short-handed. But there is such many different ways that you could take to try and develop that situation rather than just being like, all right, let's just go and try and chase after people, because it's out within their character to go and do this. That's what the problem is. This is not, we've seen Carol do this before, I understand that, but it's the fact is that it seems rushed. It's as if they're in a writing room and they're like, well, how can we create this suspense?
We've got to push them all out at once.
Let's just push them all out and we'll just leave Alexandra vulnerable when they've already paid the price of doing that already. We've already seen it with the Wolves. They came in and they destroyed people because everyone was trying to adhere to Rick's plan. And that's where the frustration comes. There's many different routes you can take.
There were different thoughts going through my head with this. With Carol, I did think it didn't make a ton of sense, because if we're going to her mindset of, I can't kill anymore, I don't want to, the best place to do this, and I'm sure she must have realized this while she was out, was within the walls.
Yeah.
As soon as you step out, that need that absolute need to kill only intensifies. When you're alone, if you expect to survive, you have to kill. And she made the worst move possible for someone in that kind of precarious position. I mean, you could say that she was in a fragile mental state and she's not really making good decisions, but it doesn't feel authentic to me.
No, and it's either she's playing a very good role of someone who is anxious in this situation, and if anything, she's making herself more deadly to her opposers, right?
Yeah.
Because she's playing this anxious character very well. So we as viewers are thinking, is she really this anxious? Is she really hyperventilating? Or is she just trying to create a situation where they let their guard down and think?
I think now we know she's doing it for real.
Yeah, I think so as well. But at the same time, as she's killing so relentlessly that you cannot really contemplate that she's having trouble killing, because she's killing efficiently. Like, it's like these two magic weapons that were automatic that just came out from her sleeves. It was made for a badass scene again, another one to add to Carol's arsenal. But the point is like, it doesn't go with her character development, because you're absolutely right. The place that she could be to try and get over this hurdle in her life is just staying within the walls, because you might not have to kill. You can be, as some of the Alexandrians have done, is they just
provide a support role.
Provide support, do whatever you want to do. If you want to be one of the mother figures, and do as you want to do within.
Fill in at the medical area.
Fill in there.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways she could take this if that was her true goal. We also see, I mean, the other side of this pacifism versus straight up martial law war is Morgan. So he has admitted to Rick, I let one of the wolves in here. He had a lot of really obvious things to say when he and Rick were out together.
Yeah.
It seems like he's splitting again. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we moved past this question of, is it okay to use Morgan's method of peace-seeking, of talking people down. And I think we've seen unequivocally outside the walls, no, it doesn't really work. I mean, these people are ready to kill, are ready to immediately stake that ground. And it's not a situation where negotiating works.
Yeah, and they played that kind of storyline well with Daryl's storyline, because it's the exact same as like Daryl's trying to seek redemption for what he believes is his fault. He let go one of the saviors who ended up killing Denise. Dwight. So it seems like he's trying to seek some sort of refuge in his own mind, because they were saying, you're not doing this for Denise, you're doing this for you. And same with Rosita as well. She's trying to think to herself, like, she's gone through a lot. She can see what's going on with Abraham and Sasha, so she's trying to do it for herself to make herself feel better. That's a good kind of storyline, because they're trying to cloud this vision. Are they doing this to make up for what happened, or are they doing this to accept it within themselves because they struggle?
But isn't that a really selfish thing to do?
That's what I'm
thinking. In such a
thinking.
precarious time, in such a way where people need each other and only have a certain amount of people they can actually trust and depend upon and love?
It's something that season 1, 2, or 3 maybe Daryl would do, is when he was still struggling to come to terms with what his role is within the group. But we've seen Daryl go above and beyond for his family members, as that's what they're calling. And a situation like that seems a little bit instinctive for him, considering the way he has, what he's become in this world. Like, he would usually, if he was going to go out and do so, then yes, but take a team with you, because I don't care how many people are going off rogue. What are they thinking they're going to? Like, you're going off rogue with a crossbow against a team that you just seen had weapons. Like, I understand Daryl's talented, but let's be realistic here. Take people with you. And of course, them chasing after him.
I mean, he had that development already, right?
Yeah.
He's done it. He knows. He should know.
Yeah, he should know, but the writers of this show don't seem to know, because that's what they're playing him in to be.
I mean, it just seems like you've squandered something that you've already built up in a lot of cases. I wouldn't say Daryl is isolated. I mean, well, let's get to that, the end part of this episode. So we have Glenn and Michonne are bound and gagged. They're tied up. They're serving as bait. Daryl and Rosita sneak up. You know, we see Glenn go, no, and then Dwight shoots. Something happens. He says, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, that's where, I mean, spoiler free, of course. We're led to assume.
We're led to assume Daryl got the shot.
Yeah, and
we can assume. It's not, completely
it's not
solid.
complete. And it's the same thing that The Walking Dead like to do. They like to lead you into your own thoughts. Now, for the week, was it Daryl? Like, how bad was the shot? Did he climb underneath a dumpster and get away from him? We don't know. But
I mean, we can kind of figure that there's going to be a major character loss at the end of the season. I would be really actually kind of disappointed.
Yeah, and
if we didn't.
For me, at this point, it's just my thoughts. I think that it's as obvious as a barbed wire bat to the head that it's going to be Glenn, because we've seen that long, prolonged shot of him leaving Alexandria again, leaving his pregnant wife. Yes, I understand you want to go and save your friend, but there is numbers there to go and do so. If that is his priority, I don't see him doing it again and again and again.
So you think he's been on borrowed time ever since Dumpster Gate?
Yes, I think so. And a lot of people agree out there with theories. I don't want to see it happen, because I think that's just besides the point. But for me, it's that prolonged shot of her cutting her hair, like looking to let go of certain things. Well, you're going to have to let go of a lot more, because I think that the compromised situation that it's in, I feel like it's set in stone for him. But that's just my thoughts. I may be wrong.
I've been thinking it's Daryl, so we're on opposite ends of this, I guess.
Yeah, I think that it's a bit too obvious now for Daryl that if he's been shot in that scene, like, I think if they were going to kill him, they would have had to kill him right there.
I think they would prolong it. I mean, knowing this series MO, they like to hold on a little bit.
Yeah, they like
you to wait and stew over it.
And give you the emotional kind of like scene afterwards, where everyone, like we know by this point in The Walking Dead, most significant character deaths have to be witnessed by other members of the group. So it really depends on how, like, that could have played into that situation, because Glenn and Michonne had seen it. But again, like, no matter what happens in this situation, I don't like that it is a result of Daryl's decision making, because I love Daryl's character. I love his development more than anything else, and I think he's smarter than this. That's what I think. I think he's smarter than this from what they've given us throughout these seasons. Like, this season has been so hot and cold, but one thing that I thought they had pretty well structured was character development for each of our main characters was pretty on point, and now Carol's just diverting away, and so's Daryl. It's almost like the writers are just getting tired.
Well, it's just like, where do you go from here? How
Mm-hmm.
much longer is this series going to keep running? And how, once you've made a character learn a lesson, how do you continue to put them in peril of some sort? It's kind of a conundrum. I saw some people wondering over this question on the internet today, which was, how much longer can this show actually go on and make audiences happy and provide a compelling story? And it seems like it's not going to be easy to do. I mean, as evidenced by this episode in particular, it's not an easy thing to do, because you feel as though everyone has earned more, and when it doesn't happen or when that payoff is reversed, it's very anticlimactic. It's a letdown for people who have some amount of themselves invested in this show.
Yeah, and it's because I feel like they're trying to lead us up to the anticipation of our next main villain, of Negan, right? But one prime example of how you do that well is you maybe use an episode or two to develop further characters. We could have seen a Denise storyline before we got to see her die. We could have, like the episode where they explored Morgan's redemption. That was a perfectly well-structured episode, one of the best shot. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't all action-packed, but it was interesting in terms of how it allowed us to understand where he's at in his mind. Like, maybe I didn't want to see another episode of Carol going through ups and downs again, because we've already seen that.
She's been doing it.
But she has been doing it, but it's like they were prolonging this so that the last thing they could do, and the writers' table was like, how do we create this vulnerability for our characters? Oh, right, let's just have them run away again.
They've also prolonged with Tara, if you remember, because again they said, I wonder how Tara will feel about this. They did that last time too, I think, a little bit. And I don't know what their end game is with this. It's besides pulling it out as long as possible, and I feel a little like I've been let down.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. And trust me, there might be people who have different alternative views, and I would love to know them. I'd love to know what the other side of it is. Is like, am I being harsh? Because let's be honest, we have been somewhat sympathetic to, or like almost sympathizers to the show, and it showed how we enjoy it, and we've let off some of the episodes, I think, with our harshness. But this one, for me, I just thought was a little.
As much as I can really like a series, and I do like this series, this episode was a letdown, and I do feel it could have been done better, or executed a different storyline, or moved directly into the endgame storyline. It's just, I'm not happy with it.
Yeah, I feel like it was. I got glimpses of how this could happen in the last episode, but again, it's like, I mean, how much can you? Like, I understand they're trying to be all artistic and symbolic with our cold openings and how things are going on, and it is interesting after a while, but it was so obvious yet again that this was going to play out, that this storyline was going to play out. After we knew Carol was away, we'd seen it her literally do this in the last episode, or 2 episodes ago, sorry, with Paula and the other saviors there. And it's just becoming a little bit repetitive. That's the only way I can kind of describe it.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, Walking Dead fanboys, fangirls.
We have 1 episode left. I hope they make it a good one, because I don't think I could stand this again, especially for the season finale.
I know.
Well, I guess we'll find out if or who is going down. Hopefully they'll be resolved.
Maybe it's Negan.
Oh! Okay, let us know below, and we'll see you next week. Bye.